Hey there, Caleb Wojcik here, and welcome to the show. In this episode, I talk with Kitty Peters, who runs Atola Visuals, a filmmaking company that does client work, and a YouTube channel where she talks about filmmaking gear and tutorials. In this conversation, we talk about whether film school was worth it for her or not, why it's important as a YouTuber or creator online to have multiple income streams, and then whether it's more important to put out more content, quantity, or better content, quality. So let's dive into the conversation right now. Kitty, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
How do you introduce, what you do to like your family or your parents or something? How do you explain what you do for a living with a camera or traveling or?
Oh boy, it's always been difficult because they just don't understand. I feel like they think that I'm just doing this for fun kind of thing. But I feel like especially with parents, they want to know like how you're making money from it. So I'll kind of explain like the different ways to do it. But mostly I'm telling them that I'm doing camera gear reviews on YouTube. I'm helping out the creator community. And I just like having fun because it gives me a creative outlet. But my parents, both of them, don't really like understand the art world. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to explain to them.
What do they do for a living?
They're both nurses.
Okay.
They wanted me to be a lawyer or architect. And then I went into film.
And you studied film in college, right?
I did.
And then where did you go from there? Like what kind of were your first jobs after college? Having studied, like did you do film studies and watch old movies and learn kind of cinematography in classes or?
So I learned cinematography. I majored in it and it was all film cameras. Like we didn't even get into digital cinematography until after I graduated. They finally bought like a red one, the very first one. And this wasn't in like
the 90s, right? This was like not that long ago.
I'm not that old.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So they had you doing stuff on film.
It was on film.
What did you learn from that then helped you get maybe your first job or two after college?
Well, you learn the basics. Like I was cutting and taping film straight up.
I've never even done that.
Yeah. You really learn how to look at a frame and really think about what you're shooting because you have a limited amount of feet of film every time. So I didn't even know what a sensor was after I left college. I had to relearn all of that after I left. So I bought like a DSLR. I had to learn that whole vibe after, which kind of sucked. But you have the foundation, you have the history, you learn like really old cinema ways, especially like international films. Like maybe people don't look at that stuff now. But yeah, you really learn about lighting. We did a few lighting classes. You learn how to edit old school wise. And my first few jobs, I was in kind of like the event nightlife space. So I did a lot of music festivals. Okay. And I still love events today because they're just so like spontaneous and fun because in school, everything's laid out and prepped and you got to write a script. You got to write a shot list. You know what I mean? Storyboard it before you shoot anything. So it's just complete opposite. And I'm the type that kind of likes excitement too. Yeah. Like I like a balance. I like planning half my videos and some videos I just vlog and figure it out. So it's a lot of fun that way. And then when I moved to San Francisco, it's mostly tech and marketing promo videos, company headshots. So totally different vibes from the Chicago life because I'm from Chicago.
And so when you were doing some of those events, you're shooting run and gun, kind of documentary style. Like a lot of people maybe start with weddings or shooting videos of their family or something like that. Did you learn faster that way than you did when you were in school by just having to like figure it out and go look in the edit? Or what kinds of things did you pick up or tricks or habits from that experience? Oh,
for sure. You learn so much more working than in school. Like you could study as much as you want in school, like the basics, but then when you get out there and actually take your camera and figure out how to use it, and especially if you edit too, you'll really know how to shoot better. Like I always tell that to people, like edit your stuff and you'll learn like what you need for that edit. Because if you shoot and you don't edit, it makes, I don't know, you're like missing a way to like storytell because you got to get the wide, the medium, the close-up, like give yourself variety and room.
And you might not know what mistakes you're making either. You might not know, like every time I film, I hit record like just a second or two too late or too early and I don't have a long enough clip or that's why I do have an editor I work with a lot, but I do like to sometimes edit myself fresh, just so I can see maybe things I do that are weird on camera or how I'm recording is a little weird or something like that.
I completely agree, yeah.
So going back to explaining to your parents how you make money, what kinds of ways do you make money with a camera now? Because you are independent from, you had a few jobs from what I was looking up about you. You had a few jobs making videos, taking photos for tech companies in San Francisco for a while. Now you're independent. So what are those ways that you make money from your camera?
Well, we still do client work, But on the YouTube side, there's affiliate marketing, there's brand deals, we have a shop. So there's all these like different income streams. I've always been used to having like multiple income streams, and that's what's going to make you better. You can't really put all your eggs in one basket. Like some people do the salary thing, and I'm just so scared because if you lose that job, what are you going to do?
Right.
So I'm always like pulling in income streams in multiple ways as much as I can. And with YouTube, you definitely have to do it. You can't rely on AdSense alone unless you're like really big.
Yeah, I think that's one misconception that a lot of people have is that if you reach a certain level on YouTube, whatever that is, that you'll have enough money and you don't need to do stuff on the side. But I feel like most people that are bigger YouTubers, maybe not the biggest ones that can live off the ad money, but some of the up and coming ones between 0 and 1 million subscribers, let's say, they have to find other ways to make money, basically.
Definitely.
And so doing client work like I do, that's where 90% of my income comes from. I don't know what the percentage is for you or a lot of other YouTubers that still take stuff on the side, but I think you kind of have to do stuff on the side.
Definitely. You can't, unless you're young and you're living at home, you don't have to pay rent, healthcare and all that. Like you could do YouTube full time as a job. But yeah, I try to explain that to my family and my parents, just try to let them know like, it's making me money too. Like, don't worry. And I'm getting to meet a lot of friends. I get to travel. I'm here in LA right now. So it's definitely worth it. It's a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it. But people who don't understand, it's kind of hard, but try your best.
Yeah, I was going to ask you actually, what is something that you do, either that's YouTube or the client work or anything video related, that people don't understand or don't really get how hard it is?
The whole thing.
All of it?
Like even clients, they just don't get it. They'll say, oh, can you make a 2-minute video? And they think it takes 2 minutes to make. You know what I mean? They don't understand, like, it might take 2 weeks. It might take 10 hours to make that 2-minute video. So I spend a lot of my time trying to explain that to people.
And do you get that across to them? Do they, like, hear what you're saying and they're like, oh, that's why it takes so much time when you have to explain? Maybe there's different locations or the editing takes a long time or like what kinds of things do you use to convince a client to maybe pay more than they would have thought to?
You just got to explain like it's going to take this type of pre-production. Oh, you want this example video? This example video probably cost around this much because they hired crew. They had to get a location. They probably had to get actors. Like you just got to break it down as basic as possible and all the little pieces because they don't really think about each little component. Like maybe it took 10 hours to edit as well. So you just got to break it down. Simplify it as much as you can.
Have you seen this project that Wistia did recently where they did a $1,000 video, a $10,000 video, and a $100,000 video?
No, but I would love to.
So they worked with Sandwich Video, who is...
I love that.
Yeah, they do a lot of startup videos, and they're based here in LA where we're filming this. And they did, at different price ranges, the same video. So the same idea for the same company at those different price ranges. And so I've actually been sending that as an example to some clients because for the $1,000 one, I think they used their phone to film it. And then for the $10,000, they used like a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. And then they used like a Red or an Alexa on the $100,000 one.
Yeah,
So I think that's an interesting way to make the same kind of video, but more people, more gear, more planning, scripting, everything like that.
Yeah, someone DM'd me to make like a video that breaks that down because even they have a hard time explaining it to clients. So I was thinking about like how to do it. But that's a very good way.
What would be one of your earliest memories of actually using a camera? Because if you went to your undergrad to study cinematography and filmmaking, you must have had something before then that kind of sparked that. Do you have a story or a memory of when that was?
Yes, I took a photography class in high school, like a black and white film class. And I've always enjoyed art classes. Like those are just better for me, just getting hands-on with stuff and getting crafty. Like when I was younger, I was always doing crafts some way or another. And I knew I was going to go to college for some type of art, creative, like career. I just didn't know what it was yet. I just knew I had to go in that way. So when I picked up the first camera, it was a Pentax. What was it? K1000, I believe.
Okay.
It was my dad's old camera. I like loved it. I was so bad though. Like I was still learning framing and lighting and how to use the aperture. Like everything's manual, you know. And then we also had a dark room, which was fun because it was like the one craft thing where you don't have glue all over your hands and paper all over. It was just less messy. But we got to work with chemicals and lighting and photo paper. It was just, I loved it. And then I knew right away I wanted to do cinematography in film school, and I never changed my major, which is crazy because I'm so indecisive with a lot of things. It was just the one thing I just went all the way through and still do it today.
Were you worried about being able to find a job or make money doing that?
For sure.
When I was in college,
Yeah.
I had one major that was in the business program,
Okay.
and that was my safety. And then the other one was more in digital media and videos and websites and all that kind of stuff. And all the other students and the faculty and everything at Michigan State were basically like, it's going to be really hard to find a job doing this. It's really competitive. And so it kind of talked me out of even pursuing it right away. Mm-hmm. And there weren't really people on YouTube or anything when I was in college choosing my major. Like YouTube wasn't even around when I started college. So I was just curious if you were kind of pushed off from doing it, or if you saw people online that were doing it, or you didn't think far enough advanced to worry about that.
Well, in college, I definitely felt like I had to move to LA. I had to start from the bottom as a PA and slowly work up somehow. Like, that's what I thought I had to do. But then, yeah, definitely YouTube came around. It wasn't like it is now. I mostly watched it for cover videos, like music cover videos.
Music covers, yeah.
Yeah. But we're just lucky that YouTube came when it did. It's because it allowed everyone to just showcase whatever they wanted without having to just be a PA for someone and not get noticed. But yeah, I thought about the money thing. I kind of knew I wasn't going to like be rich and famous. Like I was going to have like an okay, maybe job. But I wasn't really motivated by money. I don't think I really am. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to do something that like made me happy, something that I liked doing. I needed to do something creative. I already knew that. I just picked the best medium that I thought could get me a job, as opposed to like other mediums, you know what I mean? Other artsy mediums.
Yeah, when you had those jobs and you then eventually transitioned into being independent and doing client work and YouTube, were you working nights and weekends on like client work or building your YouTube presence, or how did that kind of transition take place, going from like working as a multimedia person at a company to being independent? How was that transition for you?
Well, I was always freelancing for a while, and then I moved here. I did the whole like full-time job thing for like 9 months. I didn't even make it a year, which was sad, but I couldn't do it. During that full-time job is when I actually started to do YouTube more seriously. Like I have a few other channels that I posted here and there, like student projects, but that's when I'm like, I need to do something creative, let my creative out. There wasn't a lot of camera review channels back then. Like there's the OGs, but there's not like a female kind of more entertaining.
They were
you know
white males. They're very technical. Like
I know.
No, that's fine.
You know
like
what
that's
I mean.
what my videos are, and mine are extremely detailed. They're extremely long. Someone actually commented on my channel the other day. It was information 10 out of 10, charisma 0 out of 10, and that was I kind of laughed at it because like when I'm filming a review of a camera or something, like I'm not thinking about what's like the most fun way I could do this. And I think lately there's been an upswing of people like you or like Peter McKinnon that make it really fun.
Yeah.
Make it really entertaining to watch something about a piece of gear or to learn how to do a certain thing in After Effects or what have you. And my brain is like in the information stuff. So seeing other people do it in a fun way, I think it's good for all the people that are looking to find out what camera to buy or what to use. So how do you, when you're making a video, think about how to make it fun?
It takes me a minute. Like when it's product reviews, I think about the product and how to make it more relatable or make it more human in a way. Like one of my gimbal reviews, it was the Tilta G2X, and just the design of it reminded me like this custom Harley that Brian's friend owned. They matched perfectly. And I was like, cool, we're going to shoot him riding the motorcycle at sunrise at Twin Peaks, and it's going to be epic. Like I try with my example footage to shoot a kind of story in it, not just like shoot some B-roll here and there. Because I feel like it needs to be kind of more cohesive. And it's just fun too, because it's like a mini shoot for me. So it definitely helps me practice my, like feature film knowledge in a way and bring it to YouTube a little bit, make it shorter form.
Do you feel like
example.
Do you feel like you get niched into doing certain kinds of videos based on what videos become successful?
Yeah.
And then companies want to work with you on gimbal videos or something like that? Have you felt like that kind of happened to you, or was that a logical choice that, people came to you for gimbal videos and that kind of pushed you to make more?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everyone knows I do a lot of gimbal reviews. I do a lot of gimbal reviews. So yeah, companies will reach out about gimbal reviews. People will DM me about, hey, did you test this gimbal? Did you test this gimbal? And I love gimbals, but like after a while, it's like, it's another gimbal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the type that gets bored really easily. So I like to venture out into different things and test different types of videos. Like my last video was a lifestyle video. It was completely different from my product reviews. And then all of January, I've been doing business tips. So I want to make it just more versatile. I don't want to be stuck in like, just do gimbals and be known as just the gimbal person, because eventually everyone's going to have a gimbal. It's going to be just old news. You got to adapt and move and change and try something new.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you didn't brand yourself as like gimbal girl, or, like,
Yeah.
because you can like
I don't wanna be
pigeonhole yourself
stuck. Yeah.
too much. When you were first making some of those earlier YouTube videos that did start to take off, were you aware of maybe this one will do better because it's a certain piece of equipment, or I'm making this video pretty quick after it comes out, or anything like that? Or were you just making videos you wanted to make and then some of them took off?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of shot whatever I felt like shooting, like just the stuff I had on me and the stuff I actually used. That's what I was shooting about.
So stuff you'd already bought to do freelancing, you were just
talking
looking
about
over
it.
here, and you're like, oh, I'll review that thing, and then I'll review that thing, and that kind of got you started. And then as you got momentum, companies wanted to work with you more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly how it went.
that's how it went. Okay. What's a tactic for YouTube, or some sort of strategy or something that would work to help you get more views or likes or comments or something like that, but you try not to do, or you don't do at all?
So I know for Instagram, nudes, or just having less clothes in general, like as a female,
Yeah.
we already know it's the Instagram thing. Like I just refuse to do it. Even if it's like a tasteful nude, like I don't think I could just do that sort of thing. But for YouTube, it's definitely like downgrading your quality to just pump out more videos. I just can't do it. I tell myself like, just suck it up, try it this month and see how it goes. But it's hard, you know what I mean? Like I'm the type that wants to make this crazy produced YouTube video that takes maybe like a week to do. And then you don't get that many views, but it's still more satisfying, I think, in the long run.
And since YouTube's not your sole income, like you can take some risks, you can put more time into them.
That's true.
And just based on like our interaction up until this point is I saw you at VidCon and we met there, but we're in a Slack group with other camera YouTubers is what I would call them. And hearing you share some of the amount of time you've put into a gimbal review or a video or something like that, I respect that, because I put in a lot of time into my videos and they're not as frequent. And I think that some people obviously want more videos or something like that, but it's hard to keep quality up and quantity up at the same time. And so...
And your mental stability.
Yeah, of like...
Something's gonna...
Work-life balance and that sort of stuff. Are there any sort of habits or routines or anything personally or work-related that kind of keep you on track with putting videos out or releasing them? Do you have like I'm going to put out X number of videos a month, or I get up at this time every day, anything like that?
Yeah, so I have goals. It's really important to write down your goals. Definitely needed. I would ideally like to pump out 3 videos a week, but let's be real. So I try to post at least once a week. I don't have a designated time or day. I just get it out when it's done, right? Like some things take a little bit more time, and I'm not going to put it out until I'm like satisfied, like, okay, this is good enough. It's not ever going to be perfect, and you have to accept that, but it's good enough where you're like, okay, I'm kind of proud of it. Like as an artist, you're never going to be like super proud of your work, or maybe it's just me.
Do you watch your old videos?
I do. It's kind of funny. I'm oh.
So you like feel for how naive your younger self was, maybe, or like, but you don't get like mad at like maybe what it looked like or anything like that? No, okay.
Because I know it's the process. Like,
yeah.
I was new then. I was still trying things out. And at the same time, you're like, oh, she's happier then too. Because you feel the burnout, the YouTube burnout.
You can
I feel
see
like
it.
everyone...
Like if your eyes aren't smiling, you can tell.
Yeah, I feel like especially this past year, people have been talking about it more, which is like, thank God, you don't feel so alone. Like, oh, you're just making YouTubes. How do you feel burnt out? It's an actual thing. You know what I mean?
Where do you think that comes from?
Like overworking yourself, comparing yourself to like other people. Like, why aren't I growing that fast? Why don't I have that many views? Oh, I didn't pump out this video fast enough, so it's not going to get as much engagement. Like, you're always thinking about these things, and it's hard.
What do you do
hard.
What do you do to deal with that? Either the overwhelm of like, I have all these ideas that I want to make videos about, or that comparison game.
It's hard. Some days you just want to curl up in a fetal position and cry and like, I don't know, just drink and smoke. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but those are the unhealthy ways to deal with it. And then I also have healthy ways where I just work out, I meditate, I go outside and just do anything else to get your mind off of it for a second, and definitely take breaks. Don't just constantly work and think like, oh, it's going to get better eventually, because it never does. You're just going to add more and more work to yourself and it never goes away. So you got to like make sure you balance things. Like this year, my word is balance, because last year I was like hustle, 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 and I didn't feel good inside. You know what I mean? So balance is the way to go.
So it was like an exterior view of you might have seen like a lot of things going on, audience growth, videos doing well, all of that stuff, but inside it didn't feel great.
Yeah, it's not all about the views.
Yeah.
You know?
What's something about that, like the views, social media follower accounts, like all of that, what do you like about YouTube and social media, and what do you not like about it?
Well, I love a lot of parts about social media. If you use it for the right ways, it's really good. It's good for marketing. If you have a business, it's good for meeting like-minded people, because my friends back home have nothing to do with video or photography, so it's hard to relate to them and explain like my struggles or like any new ideas that I have. So definitely meeting people all around the world, miles and miles away, you could become really good friends with them and keep in contact. Like every one of my friends now I've met online, which probably is weird to say. Like 5 years ago, I met this person online. That's really, really creepy.
I met my wife online.
What? That's so sweet. When was that?
8 years ago.
Was it weird telling people like we met online?
It was weird then. Now I think it's normal.
It's normal now.
But we didn't swipe at each other. We winked at each other because it was Match.com.
Oh, that's so cute.
But yeah, sorry to derail. But like doing stuff, there's more people doing stuff
Meeting
on the internet
people.
now.
Yeah, connecting with people face to face, not just sitting on your phone and DMing people that way. You have to actually get out and meet people. I love that. I love that you could be creative. You could post whatever you want. But yeah, you get a lot of inspiration from a lot of people that way.
Who are some people or resources you do consume or pay attention to on a week-to-week basis that helps re-energize you? Not necessarily like to compare yourself to or competitors or what have you, but like what kind of content do you consume that kind of wants you or makes you want to go do more?
It changes all the time.
Yeah.
Like I said, I get bored easily, so I need to like change it up. There'll be some weeks where I want to watch some Gary Vee. Some days I want to watch some Dan Lok, which is like, have you seen Dan Lok? He's amazing. He's like an Asian Gary Vee.
Okay, I think I saw him at Vid Summit, and he wears like bright red suits, like head to toe sometimes. And okay.
So I'll watch business people. Okay. I'll watch other video people, travel vloggers. I'll watch some female stuff, of course. I'll watch some crafts. I'll watch some just, you get into that YouTube space where you're like, why am I here? But it's just like, sometimes gives you new ideas too. I like watching challenge videos. So that's another way to do entertainment in product reviews, is somehow make it a challenge, because challenge is really popular in YouTube. So somehow bring in another entertaining element into the review space.
Gotcha.
So just try to get inspo everywhere. Don't just watch camera review videos forever. Like mix it up. Comedy. It depends. Yeah,
I'm trying to do the same thing because I enjoy consuming videos that are similar to what I want to talk about. Obviously, I make videos about camera gears and stuff because I like it. But if you only consume that, then even like your intro or how you film or anything, how you edit can start to feel like someone else.
Yeah, and it looks the same.
It looks the same, and everyone else can recognize that. People will say like, oh, you did a little time-lapse intro. You must be copying Casey or whatever. Like that. That's what people tend to jump out and say if you do anything like anyone else. And so I struggle with it, but I do try to not just consume like my circle of friends and all of the stuff that they make too.
Yeah, mix
Going
it up.
into
Balance,
of course. Going into like some of the tools that you use
Oh
to
wait, I didn't answer the what don't I
you
like about social media?
So what don't you like about social media?
Oh man. Well, one, it's addicting. Everyone knows that. But just that there's some days where I know not to compare myself, but then there's these days where I get really down. I'm like looking at other people's stuff and it just makes you feel bad. So that insecurity level of social media, I feel like everyone can relate to. So I feel like that's the worst part. Like if you're just spending too much time on social media and not being productive or like getting value or learning something from it and just making yourself feel worse and worse and worse inside, just get off, do something else. That's what I don't like. Oh, and the fact that, because social media is so like now, they want things instantly. So if I post an event video, for instance, 2 weeks later, they're like, that event was 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, sorry, I had client work to do, I had life happen, you know? So it's hard to post then and there right when something happens. It's really difficult.
To not only go to VidCon or something else, be in person with people, have actual conversations, not just always filming yourself and editing yourself. It's like a full-time job to just do the filming and editing.
And then you got an IG story too. It's a lot.
Yeah. You like need a team to do all the things, but I think it's okay to not do all of them and to just focus on one. And when I go to events, I try to just focus on the people and the interactions and that sort of thing. And I try not to get too much content or try to do too much at once, because
I try to do the too much thing.
Yeah, because I've done that a lot of times when I go to NAB, because there's so much gear and equipment there, and people release stuff that's brand new, and it's like, okay, well, if I make a video about this right now, go back to my hotel room and edit it and post it, I know it'll do better. Because if I'm the first person to make a video about that Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Cam 4K, like David Kinotika, you know, you can get 100,000, 200,000 views because there's 3 videos about it. And so it's tempting for me to want to go to an event like that.
And not sleep and I didn't post
and just like do all of that stuff. I know that that's not sustainable for one, but number two, I've gotten so much out of just spending time with people and companies at something like NAB, of actually getting to know a person at a company, so that in 6 months when I want to do a video about whatever, there's some sort of connection. That's been really valuable to me versus like, got to be the first one to post the video, got to be posting every day and that sort of thing. What would
You'll get more opportunities in the future too.
Yeah. So do you kind of have that long-term approach when you're maybe working with a company or making gear videos and a company reaches out to you or that sort of thing?
Like getting it out first or not getting out first, or just interacting? Yeah,
like do you have, let's say a company emails you and wants to work with you and you haven't made a video about their thing before. How do you kind of approach that if it maybe isn't a good fit or you're really excited about it?
Well, if it's not a good fit, I tend to not even do it. Because I feel weird promoting something I personally do not use or I know anything about. You know what I mean? Like Squarespace. Like I've never used Squarespace. You know, I use a different website platform. Or like if it's a piece of gear that I'm just like, I would never use that. Like, okay, you're going to get paid to do this video to promote something that you would never use. I feel like I don't feel right. It doesn't sit right with me. Or
promoting something that's unrelated, maybe.
Unrelated, yeah. Like clothing companies. I'm like, I'm not a fashion beauty channel. It just doesn't make any sense. And most of my demographic is male anyway. So it would just be a waste of time and just be really weird.
Yeah.
Like camera reviews, business tips about video, and like, oh, look at my outfit of the day.
Yeah. I get weird things too. Most recently, someone wanted to give me a tattoo.
And a real tattoo?
Like they're like, I'll give you a tattoo. We'll do a collab. And I was like, did you even look at my channel?
Yeah, it's like, did you do research on me?
I don't have a tattoo, and I don't talk about tattoos. Like, what did you think? So have you gotten weird requests like that? What would some of them be?
Not a tattoo. Nothing weird like that.
Clothing though? Or
clothing, phone cases. Yeah. Nothing too extreme that. I'm jealous though.
Yeah.
I'd be like, sure.
Sure, tattoo. Sign me up. What would be a piece of gear or equipment that or it could be software or something like that you thought would like change everything. You like could not wait to get this thing, and you finally bought it, and then it came, and then it wasn't what you thought it would be, or like didn't live up to the hype.
It didn't live up to the hype. Well, I have a piece of gear that I love that I waited for.
So what would
a long
be
time.
that one then? What lived up to the hype first?
I've always wanted to build my own Hackintosh.
Okay.
Like it took me, I feel like I've been looking at it for like 10 years. Like one day I'm going to build my own computer because I've always worked on laptops, MacBook Pros. Ugh. Nowadays, ugh. But yeah, I finally worked with some people to get that going, and I love it. It was a struggle to deal with like Hackintosh and how like the little quirks, because it's not a perfect Apple, but I love it. It's so powerful. It's cheaper than my MacBook Pro 2017, and it's got RGB lights, and I just, every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is a piece of art, because I nerd out on electronics, but I love it. I also have Windows on another hard drive, too, so I have like the best of both worlds. Yeah.
Has there been a piece of gear or equipment that you thought would really change things, or you're really excited about, but it just sits in your closet, or you sold it or something?
Well, nothing like a big flop, but I was really excited for the Fuji X-H1. We still shoot on it too, but it's kind of unreliable. It should have been the like video camera for Fuji, but there's some things that it's missing that I wish they would have done better on. But maybe the X-H2 would be better. The X-T3 is pretty cool too, but yeah.
If you only had one camera, one lens, and one other piece of gear to use for, let's say, a whole year to do YouTube, client work, everything like that, what would be the three things now?
Yeah, that's out currently.
That's out
not
currently.
A fake camera
not a fake
that
camera.
I can invent in my mind.
Yeah.
Definitely my Sony a7R III, because I shoot photos and video. And then my 24-70 G Master 2.8 lens. Still my favorite lens. I did a video like probably a year ago exactly about how it's my favorite lens because it's the perfect focal range.
Just versatile.
24-70. It's heavy, but it's beautiful. And then the one piece of gear would probably be a gimbal.
A gimbal. What gimbal?
My favorite gimbal right now is the Moza Air 2.
Why?
Because it's got so many features. There's a screen on it. You could do motion time lapse. It charges the Sony batteries. You could trigger the record button too. And it's lighter than the Ronin S. So interchangeable batteries, that's the one I would use. It's just hard to travel with because it's a little heavier. So, but if I only had one gimbal, because I have like 6 gimbals, so I'll bring like a lighter gimbal with me to travel. But yeah, definitely that one at the moment.
What kind of advice would you give to someone that's starting out on YouTube?
Yeah. There's a lot. I feel like a lot of people think too much about what they want to post and how they should run their channel. And I feel like just post, because honestly, no one's going to watch your stuff in the beginning.
At the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, and it's better that way sometimes, that no one's going to watch it, because then you can experiment and see what you like to shoot and what direction you want your channel to go in. You know, so just don't worry about it too much. Don't worry about the troll comments. Those people are really sad anyway.
What do you do to those?
I laugh.
You laugh at them?
I laugh.
In a comment
like,
reply?
When I first started, I was like really intimidated, like, oh my God, what are people going to think of me? But now it's just like funny. But I don't know. It depends on my response and what they say. Sometimes I'll just joke back with them, or I'll just say like, thank you. Like, I don't fight with people anymore. It's just stupid. It's a waste of energy. So I'll just be like, oh, thanks, or I hope you have a good day. Like, just be nice to them back, because maybe the next comment they want to leave mean to someone, they'll think twice about it. But there's times where people actually apologize for the mean comments they say. They're like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean it that way. Sometimes it's just out of context. Like, you're typing stuff. You don't really know their tone, too. So don't take it too seriously.
They don't really expect a response from the person.
They get surprised, too, when you respond to them.
I tend to just do one of 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
If it's bad, like real bad, I'll just delete it. It's like, this is my channel.
Just take it off.
You can't just like come onto my property and like take a dump.
Because they just want attention.
I'm just going to clean it up if that's what happens.
Some people just want attention too.
Yeah. Or I'll reply, or I do an upside down smiley face.
An upside down smiley.
Because that really doesn't have a meaning.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
okay.
Okay. So that's how I usually reply to those.
But there's a lot of advice for people who want to start a YouTube channel. Make friends with people who are like doing the same thing as you. It definitely helps. Collab a lot. It'll make the work a lot easier because that's what YouTube's mostly about, I feel like. Like, don't make it a competition. Make it more of a collaboration.
Yeah, I think that's good. If you have a bunch of other people that are making videos in a similar niche or have shared audiences, there's no reason not to become friends with the other people and
It's
work
the
with
best
them.
part about YouTube, for sure.
What do you mean by that? Like, why is it the best? 'Cause it's most fun?
Collabs?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's fun to just connect and relate to people, and it doesn't feel as difficult because some videos I'm like, oh, I gotta shoot today, I gotta say these things, you gotta be in that like YouTube peppy mood, like get yourself kind of hyped up, you know what I mean, in a way, but not like over exaggerated. But when you have someone there, you could like share off that energy, get ideas, give feedback, and then you also grow faster, I feel like, when you collab with people. You know what I mean?
Because your audiences
And
get
it's less
shared.
work in a way.
Yeah.
Because like that person's giving their knowledge to your audience, and you could give like half the knowledge too.
And
It's fun.
It can get lonely too.
It's so lonely.
Just doing stuff on the internet, working by yourself. Do you do a lot of the stuff by yourself, a lot of the videos? Do you have help, or do you have a team that you work with sometimes, or is a lot of it just you by yourself?
Oh my
and
God.
editing?
I feel bad for people who do everything by themselves. I couldn't even imagine because it's hard enough. But I have my boyfriend who helps me shoot some behind the scenes. He'll pick out some music for me, do the descriptions and tags, like we'll feed off like what should we title this video. I have an editor now, which definitely helps because that takes the most amount of time. So if you could get an editor, definitely get an editor would be my biggest tip for YouTube, posting consistently. And then I would love a social media manager, but eventually, because it's not just you shoot, you post, and that's it. You got to promote it. You got to put the descriptions and tags. There's so much more. Like shooting and editing, I feel like is half the video. You know what I mean? And engaging too.
And when you do collaborate with someone, why does that like come natural to you? Or like what's your favorite part about actually filming with other people? Is it that they know what they're doing and so they can help you film, or it's just like more fun to be able to film someone using a piece of gear versus like you trying to film yourself using it? Or what part about doing collaborations is fun to you?
All of it.
All of it?
Yeah, because I don't have to, especially because I know they know how to shoot. I could be like, here, hold this camera, get this angle, and I know they'll know how to do it, which is very helpful. So I don't have to do a million takes or check and be like, let me see the angle or let me see the lighting. Like I could just trust them to do that, which takes, definitely half the thinking out of it. And then like if someone's on video with me, it's just fun to meet new friends, you know, because this life is mostly working, and to have friends that also like working makes it more like a social thing in a way, but you're also being productive at the same time. So I love that type of experience, is being social and productive at the same time.
Is there anything you'd like to leave people with in regards to basically like how do you make a living from your camera? Any kind of tips or advice that you've gotten through school or through your jobs or now doing stuff freelance?
Yeah.
Some advice for someone that just, they have a camera, they love taking pictures or filming videos, they just don't know how to do that for a living.
I feel like especially for artists, they don't really like or understand the business part of it, because that's also half the job, is to learn how to market yourself, learn some sales, read business books. And I feel like people who have less talent and no business skills will get a lot further, make more money than someone who has the most amount of talent and like no business skills. So definitely invest your knowledge into that section as well.
Perfect. I think that's a great way to end it. Thanks for being on the show, Kitty. Where can people go to find more about you online?
You can find me on any social media at Atola Visuals.
You gonna spell that?
Yeah, probably. Every time I say it, they're like, what? Here, just write it in. It's Atola Visuals. Hopefully you can spell visuals.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. You do, fam. Done. Oh, can you do an done? Just cause? That's
that
my
what you do in
sign
your
out.
videos?
Yeah.
Done.
It's perfect. Yay, thank you.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this conversation with Kitty, definitely check out her work both on YouTube or Instagram. You can usually find her through Atola Visuals. That's her handle. And if you want to learn more about SwitchPod, the tripod I invented for vloggers, it's currently on Kickstarter right now through the end of March 2019. So if you want to pre-order it, you can go to switchpod.co and it'll take you directly to the Kickstarter page to check that out. Or if this is, after the fact you're listening to it, that URL will take you to wherever you can order it from there. And if you want to help support the show, definitely subscribe, whether that's on YouTube, where I'm doing these video versions, or on whatever audio platform you're using to listen, on iTunes or Spotify or what have you. And reviews there help too. Thanks so much for watching or listening. I've been Caleb Wojcik, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.